Hey, everybody, and welcome to another action packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, TJ and Dave. Today, we're going to be talking about SmackDown from May 16th and Saturday night's main event matches. I think we got 4 out of 5. And then we got Collision from May 17th. And some of the latest wrestling news and drama, Twitter gossip, whatever it may be. We're going to talk about a little of it. But as always, follow us on our social medias at OverMark ENT. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify. Maybe one day there'll be some more, but for now, that's it. And, we'd like to thank you guys for checking us out. And, we've been here doing this, I think, about a month now. And, it's been a learning experience for me and Dave. And I feel like we're getting better as we go along. And it's been a lot of fun, and like I said, we appreciate you guys for listening. And if there's any kind of criticism, anything you tell us to improve on, any ideas, anything at all, just let us know. Or if you just want to talk, hit us up. We got our Discord. We're on everything, like I said, social media wise. And you got anything to add to that, Dave?
Just that we reached 200 subscribers. So we want to thank everybody for that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool little milestone. We're on the road to 1,000. And, once we reach 1,000, we'll quit announcing them by the hundreds. Because, at that point, that's kind of, we got 1,100. People don't want to hear that. But, it's cool that people are coming along on this journey with us. And we're growing the channel slow but steady. And, we're just going to keep doing this even if we stay stuck at 200 subscribers. I'm having fun doing this.
Yeah, we just appreciate anybody for checking us out. Generally, the sentiment here, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of options and things for you to do with your time. So if you're choosing to use any of that time with us, we really appreciate that. Everybody's time is extremely valuable, especially these days. There's not a lot of extra time that everybody has.
All right, we're gonna jump into what happened this week, and we're gonna start off with SmackDown. We last left off with Dynamite. We're jumping into Friday here. So this happened on 5/16th, 2025. We had an attendance of 11,844. Their setup was for 12,124, so they had 280 tickets left. It was a pretty good crowd tonight. It looked good. You can tell there were a lot of people there. And, it's like, I know SummerSlam's right around the corner, but usually around this time back in the day, they'd start to slow down on those sellouts and stuff. But, they just keep hitting it. And, Cody's not even on the show. Imagine when he's going to be on the show, how they're 100% not going to have those 280 tickets left, I bet.
It'll be like available tickets 5. And those will just be like the multi-$1,000 ones that, people didn't buy for whatever reason.
Yeah, and as long as people keep buying them, the price is going to slowly trickle up. They're not going to go down each time they come back to that place. They're going to stay the same or go up. But that's nothing new, right? It's just
thanks, inflation.
It's a little bit more than inflation now.
Yeah, there's a lot of complex things that dudes on a wrestling podcast aren't going to jump into.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, some wrestling podcasts will, but not this one.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that anyways. But we started off with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Jeff Cobb segment. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Jeff Cobb make their way to the ring. Crowd chants loudly for Fatu. Solo takes the mic and introduces JC, Jeff Cobb, saying he's a man who kept the U.S. title in the family, not a man, the man. Solo shifts focus to Roman Reigns, blaming him for losing everything at WrestleMania when he lost to Cody Rhodes. Solo declares that everything changes now. He's going to win Money in the Bank and bring the title back to where it belongs. He warns anyone in the back, if they have a problem, they'll have to deal with JC and Jacob Fatu. It's kind of funny they change his name like that, right?
Oh yeah, they got to be able to monetize it.
So what is it?
Some guys get away with it, keeping their names, but not him.
What would JC Montero?
JC Mateo.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They probably didn't need to do that.
They could just call him JC, and that'd be fine. At some point, this seems like a Vince McMahon thing. You know how he used to always fuck with people's names?
Yeah.
It'll end up just being JC at some point, because there'll be so many times of people saying JC Mateo, JC Mateo. It's just easier to drop the Mateo part.
He taught
But
all
anyway,
the guys
sorry.
making the decisions right now, so they all have Vince in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every single person there has been taught by Vince how to do whatever they're doing in the wrestling business for the most part. At least the biggest influence, I'd bet. But it's kind of funny. Like Jeff Cobb, he comes out there and like, man, he looks like shit. Like he is a legit physical guy, and like he is tough and strong and all that, and he has the Olympic credentials, but he needs to be in his wrestling gear. Him in his normal street clothes, I don't think it looks good, man. Either that or they need to put him in a suit. But I'm not digging the, I don't know, like tire mechanic or whatever look they got going for him.
Well, Mark Henry, later in his career, whenever he came out, he just rolled out there in his wrestling gear.
That's what he should.
He wasn't out there. Yeah, he's just
I've
out
seen,
there looking big and imposing, like he might just beat the shit out of you at any point.
Yeah, like he's always ready to go, but that's not what's going on here. But
Yeah,
anyways, Jacob Fatu responds, grabs a mic, says, "Let's keep it 100." Makes it clear that he'll handle business with or without Solo. Before that, though, didn't Solo start to do his catchphrase?
Well, yeah, he does that. He does that here at the end after he does the all gas, no brakes,
yeah,
and he goes to do the whatever. I can't do it.
No, so he did it twice.
For real?
Yeah. So Jacob Fatu snatched the mic out of his hand. When he started to do the all brakes and no gas, like Solo did that, and then that's when Jacob Fatu grabbed the mic and then said, "Let's keep it 100," and then the whole thing I just said. And then the tension between them brewed, and Solo interrupted Fatu, and then insists that everything he's doing is out of love for Fatu. Solo points out his shoulder, saying that it's proof of the love. Solo reminds Jacob of something he used to always say. Jacob replies softly, "I love you, Solo." Solo corrects him, saying that's not how he used to say it. He pushes Jacob and demands to hear it louder. The moment grows tense. Yeah, he was, "Say it how you used to say it," and all that, which he was like,
"Yeah, come on, Jacob, Solo. Come on." Like badgering him about it, yeah, being a real dick.
Well, and then LA Knight, this would have came to a head here, but LA Knight came out and kind of prolonged it another week, right?
Yep. Which is, that's good. That's good storytelling. You don't want to have the payoff for this. Is something that you want to milk for a while.
And LA Knight comes out. Music hits. Runs out to the crowd. He got a huge pop, by the way. He ambushed. He ambushed Jeff Cobb. Knight quickly escaped back into the crowd, leaving chaos in the ring. So he just kind of like did a little like rogue pop in and like ran back out. Now he's in his gear, So he
got his cheap shots in. He pulled Jeff Cobb out of the ring. He was talking shit the whole time.
Yeah, I mean this was a good segment though. Like, regardless of what you think about Solo in the ring, I think he always performs on the mic good enough, especially when he's got something that's like that you can tell he's into doing, and like him and Jacob working together. That's good stuff. I don't mind it at all, and I like this, and it was a good opener to the show, right?
Yeah, he did get derailed a bit when the other dudes got hurt from the new bloodline. So it's good to see them kind of get back in the story that's been delayed for a few months while they figured out whatever that they were going to do. I guess the other two guys are still pretty hurt if we're not seeing them.
I don't know. Jeff Cobb should be a big improvement over both those guys just by himself.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's a big guy and he's going to replace, Fatu for him and all that.
Right.
Should be some good stuff. You can instantly tell where they're going with this. But
I agree.
And people complain about wrestling being predictable and everything, but when it's there's predictability in a good way and a bad way. Like you can predict you're going to take a shit every day, and there's nothing good about that. But you can also predict you're going to eat, but you can change what you're going to eat, good or bad. Well,
right. That's a good comparison.
Is it?
Yeah, I like that.
Well, maybe take us into something that you may or may not think is good. What about this next segment we had here?
Yeah, so next up we have the Women's Money in the Bank qualifier match with Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, and Michin These are three women that I like to varying degrees, but I do like all of them. All of them are good and not offensive in the ring, so that this should be a good match. We get to the opening moments, and the match begins with Michin kicking Chelsea Green, sending her out to the floor. Uh, Alexa and Michin trade quick roll-up attempts for near falls, and then the two of them drop kick Chelsea Green to keep her to the outside. Both women go out to bring Green back in, but end up getting drop kicked by Green. Then we get some picture-in-picture mid-match action. Green sends Michin into the barricade and then works over Bliss inside the ring. Green repeatedly pins Bliss for 2 counts. She controls the pace, sending Bliss into the barricade and kicking Michin off the apron. Michin returns and powerbombs Green, which was a pretty nice powerbomb. Bliss breaks up the pin attempt. We go into a commercial break, and then when we come back, Michin cannonballs both Bliss and Green in the corner. She gets a near fall on Green. Michin aims a kick at Green, but accidentally hits Bliss. All three women simultaneously land strikes and go down. This is awesome chant breaks out from the crowd. We get the final sequence where Bliss hits Green with a drop kick. Michin interrupts and drops Green, but Bliss again breaks up the pin. Bliss drops Michin on her head and hits a twisted Bliss, but Green breaks up the count. Green hits Michin with the unprettier, and Bliss counters Green with a Sister Abigail style DBT, and Bliss pins her and gets the win. She qualifies for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And one of the things that's not in the notes that I wanted to remember to mention was maybe I haven't paid very much attention to Michin matches, or she's just not on TV a lot for me to remember this, but she gets out there, and when somebody, you know how like when the girls set up another one for the running hip attack, the one's kind of laid out in the corner. She gets out there, and when one of them is laid out in the corner like that, she starts doing like a little twerk thing in the ring, and gives her one of those style of moves. And Wade Barrett is calling it the flat back attack, which I have since come to find out that that's what she calls that move. It's just hilarious because flat back is another word for when the gals have a flat ass. So it's pretty funny. I didn't know that before yesterday's episode. What did you think of all of this?
I mean, it wasn't bad. Nothing offensive happened here. Michin's actually like, she's not doing anything crazy, but the stuff she does, it looks all right. Chelsea Green's okay. She's really good, like, facials and selling shit. And then Alexa Bliss, she's not too bad. She's over. Her character's funny. I wasn't watching WWE when this version of her character came up with that doll and her working with Bray Wyatt and stuff. But
yeah,
overall this wasn't a bad match. And just it was what it was, and a pretty decent little match for the chicks, and they're not going to go too crazy, but it was all right.
Yeah.
Well,
if you
go into the next one,
if you had to give it a rating, yeah, then we'll go to the next one in a second. We'll just do like a A through F type of situation. That seems to be the easiest. I'd probably call it like a C. The average match.
B minus, something like that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, just because I feel like a lot of times when they get these matches with 3 women involved, they disappoint, and this didn't really disappoint me. It's like it didn't blow me away, but like it was okay. It held my attention. Can't say that for a lot of matches, right?
Right. It wasn't one that compelled you to get up and take a bathroom break or anything.
Yeah, and like I said, they at least like the people involved seem like they care about what they're doing and they're into it. They all seem like they're really trying.
And speaking of, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's about it. But
speaking of taking a break, why don't you take us into this next match?
Fraxium versus DIY. Man, I don't know. Fraxium, they're good in the ring. Like we say every week, they're meant for like
they
AEW. DIY, I'm not really into them, man. I don't know what the appeal is. Not really sure what's going on with them, and I'm not saying they can't work, but I'm just not feeling it. But we got this opening sequence with Axiom and Ciampa, and they start things off with a lockup. What is it, Ciampa or Ciampa? I don't know, but
I believe it's pronounced Ciampa.
Okay.
Like there's an H in there.
Yeah, Ciampa targets Axiom's arm, but Axiom counters with a drop kick. Frazier tags in, picks up pace, sending Ciampa to the floor. Axiom takes out Gargano, then Frazier tosses Ciampa to the barricade. Axiom hits a dive through the ropes on Gargano. Momentum shifts when Axiom attempts a springboard, but Gargano pulls the ropes, causing him to crash. Gargano delivers a clothesline and tosses Axiom into the barricade. DIY mockingly sits on the barricade and celebrates. Axiom tries to rally, but Gargano slams him to the floor. We go back from commercial, and Axiom struggles to take it out, but eventually reaches Frazier. Tag out, sorry. Frazier hits a shooting star press on Gargano for a near fall. Frazier misses a top rope move, but Gargano leads a super kick, lands. Ciampa tags in, hits Project Ciampa, but Frazier kicks out at 2. Then in the end, kind of chaos ensued a little bit with Ciampa and Axiom brawling outside. Frazier and Gargano battle on the top rope. For Axiom double teams Gargano, near fall broken by Ciampa. Gargano and Axiom trade strikes, while Ciampa and Frazier fight at ringside. Ciampa tries to rip off Axiom's mask. Frazier takes out Ciampa. Axiom rolls up Gargano for the surprise win. They got a lot of roll-ups these days.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I mean, you know how I didn't even really know how to pronounce this guy's name right. They come on and I just turn off. I don't even mean to. I got fucking ADHD. It's like watching paint dry, man. I mean, I don't know if I'm being mean here, but I'm just not feeling it. And at least with
I think
the Fraxium or whatever, at least there's a world where I can see them having success with doing what they're doing, you know? But the other guys, what are they, mute tough guys?
I feel like the problem with DIY is they're not like these guys were two guys that were. I know you don't watch NXT, but
I know
both of those guys were super successful on the black and gold version of NXT, like the early iteration, and they, had the unfortunate task of being called up during the McMahon era from that, and then ever since then they haven't been able to kind of regain the shine. Even with Hunter being in charge now, they haven't been able to regain the shine that they had when they were down at NXT. And both of those dudes were really good, putting on banger matches. Just they were really good singles guys. Is what it is, I suppose. They'll figure it out or they won't. But at least they're getting paid, I suppose. Good for all of these guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even saying it was a bad match. It's just, I don't know. There's some things that compel you to sit there and watch, and something about these guys, none of them really give me that. None of them compel me to stay glued. I watched the match.
It feels like we're constantly shitting on the tag team division in WWE. Like the Monday tag match, I don't want to see either of those teams. I don't want to see either of these teams. Like, they need help with their tag team division fucking real bad.
Yeah, it seems like, which the Acclaim figured out, but they probably have Billy Gunn's help. Like, you gotta have a cool catchphrase, come in, get the crowd hype. Yeah, it seems like that's what works with tag teams. Or you gotta be super high, like Edge, Christian, the Hardys. I don't know. I'm not a fucking expert by any means. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a forgettable match, and it wasn't bad, but I'm just giving you my experience, and fuck.
The ladder match the other week was really good. So
yeah,
we will give
great.
some props to the WWE tag team division. That was one of the. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not bad. They had a pretty good promo that they cut later in the show.
They proved with that match that match should have been on WrestleMania. That was there's no question after watching it that it was a shame that was left off, especially being that they had 2 nights of card to fill.
Absolutely.
But anyway, why don't you take us into this next part?
Well, we have this sit-down interview with Wade Barrett and R-Truth. So he R-Truth reflecting on Backlash. Interview begins. We got footage of R-Truth being sent through a table by Cena at the Backlash press conference. Post-event press conference. Wade Barrett sits down with R-Truth to get his thoughts. Truth speaks emotionally about Bill's impression in his life, how John Cena's message of hustle, loyalty, and respect used to be a beacon of light for him. Says he always believed you could depend on Cena. And then Barrett kind of was questioning R-Truth. He pressed Truth to listen to what he was saying. He recapped Cena's violent actions at Backlash against him, highlighting the contradiction between Cena's values and his recent behavior. Truth responded saying that the man who attacked him wasn't Cena, and he knows that. He admits that he doesn't want to fight Cena, but if it takes what it takes to bring back the real John Cena, he's ready to do it if it requires him beating him up. And he says he already talked to SmackDown GM Nick Aldis, and he confirmed a match is set for Saturday night's main event. And he closed the interview by repeating Cena's mantra, hustle, loyalty, and respect. So it's an official non-title match, John Cena versus R-Truth, set for WWE Saturday night's main event. We were one of the first people to post that shit, I think.
Yeah, we got a short up in the short section of our channel. Shameless plug. Why don't you go check that out after you listen to the show here? And yeah, we were on that tip pretty early, which is feels nice to be right about stuff and not be some of these other shows.
Well, even if you're wrong, you should at least come back and say, I was wrong about this later.
Yeah,
instead of just leaving it
it's
up
okay
and
to be
profiting
wrong.
off of it.
It's easy to be wrong. You just come back and say, well, shit, my bad. I missed the mark on that one. I apologize.
But I'm not expecting much. Hell yeah! But I'm not expecting much out of this match. It'll be like a little emotional roller coaster type deal, and they'll try to bring some historical elements into the match, I bet. And I'm sure it'll keep me entertained. But both these guys are fucking old, and they're not capable of putting on anything too good in the ring these days. It's definitely like, I don't mean that by like, I don't know how to phrase it, but they can do enough, but it's not like they're gonna go crazy.
It's going to be a more old school style of a match with a little bit slower of a pacing and psychology. I know a lot of the younger wrestling fans that were born after the 2000s are probably going to find it to be boring, but these guys will find a way to tell a compelling story without having to do 30 topes and destroyers in their match.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next one here.
Yeah, so we got a vignette with Damian Priest challenging Drew McIntyre. Dark, intense vignette airs featuring Damian Priest. Priest officially challenges Drew McIntyre to a steel cage match at Saturday night's main event. Priest vows that Drew won't walk out the same. He delivers the chilling line, the hospital will have to identify you by your dental records. I'm not crazy about that because that's unrealistic. He's not going to be able to maim him in a wrestling match to the point that that's a thing. But I understand the sentiment. Anyway, he promises that this will end the rivalry once and for all. No interference, no escapes. Yeah, so that's a match that's going to happen. We're getting 2 match announcements back to back here, so that's cool. You excited for that match at all? I think it'll deliver.
I mean, but both guys are good. It should be all right. Saturday night main event seemed like it's shaping up to be pretty good. Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned for the segment of that a little bit later in the show there, folks. Spoiler alert.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and should be cool.
Well, hell yeah. You want to take us into the next one?
Yeah. No, I was just kidding.
All right.
Aleister Black versus Carmelo Hayes with The Miz. Aleister Black comes out with his entrance. It's pretty good, man. I like it. Arena goes dark. He rides through the smoke, surrounded by the candlelight, slowly walks to the ring as his music plays. Pretty cool.
His entrance is fucking awesome. Yeah. I'm a big fan of him. Have been since he was in NXT. Was a fan of his in AEW, even though they didn't use him that well, and a fan of what he does here as well.
So it goes to a break after his entrance. Then we come back. Video package airs, recapping Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. That confused me for a second when I go back, but
no, that happened. That happened, and there's editorial notes here.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It went back to recapping that feud. And kind of strange placement there, but after that, backstage, the Miz and Carmelo Hayes. Hayes says it's not over until I win and mellow over everybody. Miz hypes him up and cues his entrance. Hayes and Miz head to the ring. It's cool that Miz is working with him. He could teach these young guys a lot of shit, man. It's not to say that like the Miz is like by any stretch like the best wrestler of all time or anything, but he's pretty good hand. He's solid. he's there for a reason, and he's definitely taking care of himself. Most guys can't work as long as he have and be in the shape that he is and not look all beat up.
He's a good veteran in the industry now at this point. He's been doing this like 20 years, which is just, when you look at him, doesn't look like a guy that's been doing it for 20 years. He looks as fresh as he did 10 years ago, easily.
And he can talk when he has something he wants to talk about, and he can get people over, and he knows the whole deal. It's real easy to shit on The Miz, but The Miz understands more about wrestling and what it takes to get people over and actually accomplish something than a lot of people's favorite wrestlers out there. Take that for whatever it is. But we got the opening sequence, and Black and Hayes lock up. Hayes briefly takes down Black, but Black regains control. Back and forth roll-up attempts. Black goes for Black Mass, but Hayes ducks. Hayes springboards, but is met with a big boot that knocks him to the floor. Miz tosses Hayes back in. Hayes lands a moonsault on Black. Got a near fall for Hayes there. Back from commercial. Hayes climbs up the top rope, but is kicked to the floor by Black. Hayes beats the 10 count, but Black keeps the pressure with hard strikes and a drop kick. Black hits a moonsault to the outside. Rolls Hayes back in. Hayes fights back. Plants Black face first. Black with the top rope knee strike near fall. Miz distracts Black, allowing Hayes to spike him face first, but it only gets a 2. We're getting close to the end here. Miz gets up on the apron. Black sends Hayes into Miz, knocking Miz to the floor. Black hits a huge knee to Hayes. Miz enters the ring, causing the ref to call for the bell. The result is a no contest due to interference by the Miz. That shouldn't be a no contest, right? That should be like a DQ.
Yeah, you would think. That generally that's how it should be, but
that's
for
how
whatever
it was
reason,
growing up.
Yep. Usually it is, even to this day, but for whatever reason, storyline wise, they opted to, instead of disqualify, they just threw the match out.
Yeah. But we go to the post match after that with Miz trying to attack, but Black hits a Black Mass on him. Hayes attacks Black from behind. Hayes climbs the top rope and lands a big diving leg drop. Commentary confirmed the match was officially ruled a no contest. Men's Money in the Bank qualifier with Jimmy Uso, Rey Fenix, and Solo Sikoa. You want to talk to us about that, Dave?
Yeah. So this on paper should be a pretty good match.
I skipped forward. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't know why I'm doing all that, but we've got to talk about what just happened.
Oh yeah. Well, I missed it too. Fuck. So the match was pretty good. I like everything that Malachi Black's doing. Miz getting hit with the Black Mass every week is great. It just they're building two guys here at the same time. So that's a cool thing that they're doing right now.
I mean, this thing here kind of shows you why he didn't want to work in AEW. And it's not, I'm not trying to point a right or wrong anything here. Everybody's allowed to work the way that they want, and if they have a style that they want to work with, go ahead and do that, and it's fine. And I'm glad this worked for everybody, and I'm glad that he's with his wife. But he's definitely working a little bit slower of a style, and but it's not bad. It's just, if this is the style that he wants to work, you can tell why he didn't want to work in AEW, right?
Yeah,
methodical, calculating. Selling, just different.
Yeah.
But
him and
this was good.
Hayes are both presented well. Yeah.
I like.
But now we'll move on. Now we'll move on to the next part. The like we were just saying, the men's Money in the Bank qualifier: Jimmy Uso, Rey Fenix, and Solo Sikoa. Should be a pretty entertaining match. And spoiler alert, it wasn't bad. So the bell rings. Solo immediately targets Phoenix. Jimmy lands a big uppercut on Solo. Phoenix and Jimmy briefly team up to send Solo to the floor. Phoenix and Jimmy exchange offense. Phoenix hits a top rope assisted move on Jimmy. What the fuck was the name of that move? I don't know. It should be on there, but I can't remember. Near fall.
I think it was the poo-poo splash, is what he said.
Oh, wow, yeah. The Jimmy fights back with strikes, but Solo drags him out and slams his head into the announce table. Phoenix hits a big crossbody on the top rope onto both opponents on the outside. We get some mid-match action with the picture-in-picture. I always like the picture-in-picture. At least you can still watch what's going on during the commercials, so that's never bad. Solo catches Phoenix midair and slams him. Sends Jimmy flying into the announce table. There's a lot of announce table bumps in this match already. In the ring, Solo continues to assault with stomps and a super kick to Jimmy. Covers Phoenix, 2 count. By the way, that super kick, mean, that was worse than a Jey Uso super kick. Anyway, Phoenix sends Solo into the post, and we go to the commercial. Back from commercials, Jimmy climbs to the top, but Phoenix kicks him. Phoenix is grabbed by Solo, but kicks him off. Jimmy hits Phoenix with a super kick midair that looked like your standard Uso super kick, but because it was midair, it looked a lot cooler. Solo takes out both men with heavy strikes, a Samoan drop to Jimmy, and then a corner cannonball. Phoenix escapes a Samoan spike and rolls up Solo for a 1 count. Jimmy lands a super kick on Solo. It's a super kick palooza. We're basically watching the Samoan Young Bucks. Phoenix and Jimmy trade strikes. Phoenix drops Jimmy and sends him face first to the mat. Jimmy spears Phoenix for a near fall. All of the Samoan guys use the spear for some reason. Jimmy climbs to the top ropes. Now we're getting to the end here, but Jacob Fatu appears on the apron. Solo spikes Jimmy from behind, sending him to the floor. Phoenix drops Solo, but is distracted by JC and Jacob. Solo hits the Samoan spike on Phoenix. Solo covers for the win. We get the winner by pinfall, Solo Sikoa. He's advancing to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And this wasn't a bad triple threat match. This was the night, better than average triple threat matches for some reason. What did you think of all this action?
I was disappointed that didn't win. I guess the brother won, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just messing around. But no, it was.
Well, I mean, he
match.
is an Uso technically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But no, it was a good match. I don't know if it deserves a yeet or not, but
no, probably not.
Nah, you say it's no.
Yeet. No yeet. Yeah.
Okay, but it was a good match. The Uso super kicks are fucking terrible. It's literally, we go over that every time, and it's funny. You were talking about the picture-in-picture earlier. Like TVs back in the day were so small and shitty quality that the picture-in-picture, that when you did suddenly get it back then, it wasn't worth it. Nowadays you can actually see what's going on, so it isn't all bad. They didn't do that before AEW showed up and started doing picture-in-picture though, right?
Maybe sometimes. I don't remember it being super prevalent.
They just did the commercial-free stuff for like an hour most of the time, right? Like that was Raw, or like Raw, the first hour commercial-free, and they'll do that now sometimes too. But I feel like picture-in-picture was brought, like Tony Khan's responsible for that. So it's, if you want to talk about Tony Khan's effect on wrestling, I think that is something there. Think that's an accurate statement?
That's a positive. Yeah, that's definitely an accurate statement.
Yeah, no, not bad.
He's brought a lot of positive things. Maybe at some point we'll do like a segment of
positive video, brother.
Yeah, compilation of positive contributions that Tony Khan has made that changed wrestling. I'm not talking about like good matches that he's put on, just ideas and things that he has brought to light or to fruition. Yeah, exactly.
But like we said, not a bad match. I enjoyed it. Solo had to win to advance the thing, and he's obviously not going to win the Money in the Bank, right? And if he does, fuck, they blew it. Sound about right there?
Yeah, there'll be a few people in this match that probably should be winning it over him, but you never know.
Yeah.
And then there is some post-match action, actually. LA Knight storms to the ring and attacks Solo, JC, and Jacob with a chair and stands tall on the announce table looking like a badass. He's yelling a whole bunch of shit talk.
He was like Nick Aldis comes.
Yeah, dude. Nick Aldis comes out and announces that coming up next after the break, we're going to get JC versus LA Knight. So we get an impromptu, unannounced match. And why don't you take us into that, TJ?
All right, no problem. So JC Mateo versus LA Knight here. Match started right after the break. Both men lock up. JC tosses Knight with ease, and he did. It was just like a little kid or something to him.
He looks strong.
No, I mean he definitely is. He's got that core in him. I think they said he was 2004 Olympic participant. I forget for who though. Guam. Maybe, but JC stays in control with power strikes and takedowns. Knight fires back, applies a headlock, and lands a slam reversal for a 1 count. Knight hits mounted punches in the corner, but JC fires back. Knight runs a rope, but gets leveled by a big elbow. JC dominates with clubbing elbows and throws. So pre-commercial action, Knight builds momentum with back elbows and a bulldog. Solo Sikoa distracts Knight, allowing JC to toss him over the top rope to the floor. We come back from commercial and JC plants Knight with a slam and gets a 2 count. Follows it up with a belly to back suplex, another near fall. Knight fights back with big right hands and gets dropped by JC. JC keeps Knight grounded on the mat. Knight powers up and throws JC to the outside. JC rams Knight into the ring post, but misses a follow-up and hits it head first. We're getting close to the end here. Back in the ring, Knight lands a jumping neck breaker and an elbow drop. Near fall. Knight attempts a BFT, but JC blocks it and counters with a slam. 2 count. JC connects with a standing moonsault for another near fall. JC lifts Knight again, but Knight lands an elbow. Knight trips JC on the middle rope and then springboards the apron and takes out Solo and Fatu on the outside. Knight re-enters the ring, but JC catches him and hits the Tour of the Islands. Yeah, it's got distracted by the guys on the outside there. And we have...
Tale as old as time.
Yep. Winner by pinfall, JC Mateo. Jeff Cobb. I don't know. Kind of a weird name there. But it was a good match. LA Knight's like super fucking over with everything he does, and it was cool.
Oh yeah, that dude's printing money.
Yeah, for sure. Like he just comes out, and I don't know. I remember when he first was getting over when they went back to the LA Knight name. After Vince got out of there. What was it, Max Dupree, or was that another guy that they had his name as? But he was a part of that male gimmick or the model gimmick, I think. But yeah, he's the fucking man, and he has the whole Slim Jim commercial thing, and I don't know. I'd really like to see him get a world championship run before he's too old. Cause we
were really close, and then I think like 2022, 23 was the year, and then now they have a glut of main roster talent, so he's been relegated to the mid roster.
Yeah, but it was a good match. It definitely accomplished the point of making excuse me, JC look like a tough guy, right?
Yep, made him look good while also not making LA Knight look bad.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what you look for in a match. So I guess I'll take us into this next thing here. We get a backstage vignette with Shinsuke Nakamura targeting LA Knight and Aleister Black. It's not in the notes here, but it's been announced that next week on SmackDown they're going to have a triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier match with those 3 gentlemen. So that'll be probably better than the triple threat matches this week based on those 3 guys. Because I mean, that's quite a lineup. So we get a stylized vignette airing coming out of commercial with Shinsuke Nakamura speaking entirely in Japanese, and the English subtitles thankfully appear on the screen to translate his message. The promo is directed at both LA Knight and Aleister Black. Nakamura speaks cryptically about balance, chaos, and destruction, hints that both men are in his path and he's coming for them on his terms. Man, all 3 of those guys are really good workers, and I'm looking forward to. It's one of the first times in a while that I'm actually looking forward to something on SmackDown, so that'll be a good one. And I'd like to see a program with Nakamura and Black at some point, because both of them are kind of... Well, Black is obviously a darker character, and Nakamura does really good, dark kind of work when he is given the chance to. What did you think of this little promo here?
I don't know. It was cool. They haven't really been using Nakamura too much, but I like him. His character's different than pretty much anything they've ever had, and it feels like more something Vince would do, to tell you the truth. But it was cool. I like everything Nakamura's involved with. I know people like to shit on it, but he definitely not your typical wrestler by any means, and he definitely is kind of more of a, I don't know, like a calculated type wrestler, and isn't rushing through spots, and he seems like a pretty smart guy, and I bet you when that contract runs out, he'll be over in AEW.
Probably
back to doing the strong style shit.
Yeah,
there's money to be made.
Yeah, hopefully he sticks with some of like the. I don't want to use the term mystical, but I can't think of anything better. He's good at being not cookie cutter.
Yeah, he's definitely a unique guy, and if he could speak English, he would still be this. I mean, he can, but if he could speak like really fluent English, I think he'd be blowing people away.
Right.
He's
Not
obviously a
everybody
smart
can
guy.
be Io Sky or Stephanie Vakir about it, where your English is not that great, but you still
Well,
manage to get over hugely.
I'm just saying, if that guy could speak English fluently, the shit that would come out. I mean, you could tell that just the guy does have a charisma, and he's not bad in the ring, and there's no way he wouldn't be able to if they could probably present him with shit, and he'd probably be able to make it sound all right. There's a ton of guys that can do that. I guess what I'm saying.
Imagine him wrestling like Okada or Ospreay. Woo.
Yeah, but that 3-way should be cool. I'm looking forward to that. That should be nice. Their mid card's fucking awesome. We can talk a lot of shit about SmackDown, but their men's mid card is I'd stack it up against a lot of different years in like 2000, like 5 to 2010.
We're probably watching an era, and it's always hard to judge while you're physically in the era, and it's really easy to look back on eras and be like, oh yeah, that. But we're probably watching an era where the bulk of these people on their roster in WWE will be Hall of Famers, and deservedly so.
I just
but,
like to
obviously we still got a while before we get to that.
Like it's not a sports like presentation, but everybody involved serious.
Yeah,
Nakamura maybe less than other people, but everybody involved serious. And even like Aleister Black, he's got the whole like spooky fucking gimmick and shit, but he's serious. So it's good, no hokey bullshit. And you can buy
a lot better than the Fiend.
Yeah, and you can buy everything fucking way better. There's a line that you got to draw. And I like the swamp gimmick stuff a little bit, but after a while, like you realize those promos never went anywhere. But yeah, I'll go ahead and move us on here if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
We'll talk about this backstage confrontation with old Cargill and Stratton. So there was tension boiling over Money in the Bank and the title. Cargill confronts Stratton backstage, and Jade tells Stratton that she plans to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and promises to cash in and take the title, just like Stratton did Nia Jax. Stratton fires back. Tiffany responds with confidence, says, as long as she's champion, Jade will never be able to beat her. The tension between the two builds, teasing a future clash over the title. Fuck that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but while they were doing the promo, like Naomi's kind of skulking around in the background.
Yeah, I saw that. She was actually doing that in a couple different segments last night, I believe. That involved women. Did Nia Jax have a backstage segment where Naomi did that too? But
maybe I can't recall.
I don't know. Either way though, no thanks. Nobody wants to see that, and you need to send old Cargill down to NXT for a couple years, and then maybe you can just get a couple years out of her afterwards of being decent. But she stinks. Keep her away from Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, she hasn't really improved. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Man, had such high hopes for her, and I just so much untapped potential there. I just don't know if we're ever going to see it.
I don't know. I don't think we will. But what do I know? I'm just some fucking guy, right? So
I feel like she's one of those that, as much as people hate to give Vince credit, Vince would be able to figure out some way to use her, because look at some of the dudes from the 80s and 90s that maybe
Tony
had great
figured out. Tony already had
Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, they run her like the Ultimate Warrior essentially.
Yeah,
Goldberg.
Tony had it figured out, and that actually worked for her. But the second she was going to lose that title, she wasn't going to do shit. And it's funny, it's funny how she went out of AEW. That's a conversation for another time, though.
Her just losing clean as that.
Yeah. Did you want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. So we get a WWE Women's Championship match up next. Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax. And, man. Nia Jax. Here we go. So anyway, we get some opening moments. The bell rings. Both men circle and lock up. Jax overpowers Stratton early with a shove and a headbutt. She's giving her the Samoan headbutt. These Samoans got hard heads. We'll talk about that here later in the match. Stratton lands a drop kick and kicks, but Jax absorbs the offense. Jax throws Stratton into the corner and lands a hip attack that would kill most men. No, I'm just kidding. And again, she hits her with the hip attack against the post as Stratton hangs over the rope. We get a picture-in-picture during the break. Stratton is rolled back in. Jax covers for a 2 count. Jax chokes Stratton using the middle rope. She applies a headlock and maintains control. Stratton tries to fight back, but gets grounded again by Jax. We come back from the commercial. Jax sends Stratton headfirst into the corner, goes for another hip attack, but Stratton dodges. The action spills to the outside. Stratton sends Jax into the ring post. We get back in the ring. Stratton hits a top rope crossbody for a 2 count, then a running drop kick. We get some mid-match momentum swing. Jax hits a pop-up Samoan drop and a senton for a near fall. Stratton fires back with knee strikes, elbows, and a spine buster for another 2 count. Jax regains control with 2 power bombs and a leg drop for a near fall. Jax climbs up to the second rope, but Stratton meets her up top, rolls her off for a slam, 2 count. We get some outside interference. We were just talking about old girl skulking around in the dark. Well, here she comes. Naomi's music hits, and she appears with red hair and a steel chair. Man, that red hair weave looked like shit. Whoever did that needs to get, probably a different job.
Doing something with her.
Yeah, I mean, usually her hair stuff looks good, but that last night that wasn't it. But anyway, Jade's music hits next, and she comes out and attacks Naomi, and they brawl into the crowd, distracting Jax. Jax charges and misses and hits the rings post. Stratton hits a PME for a near fall. Jax sends Stratton to the floor and clears the announce table. Jax hits a Samoan drop on the announce table, then rolls Stratton back in. She lands an Annihilator on Stratton, and right before the referee's hand comes down for the 3 count, she reaches her hand up and grabs the rope for a rope break, which was awesome. Nia Jax grabs the chair, and the ref is distracted by what's going on outside. And Stratton drop kicks the chair into Nia Jax's face, and man, that shit looked gnarly. She definitely took the spud there, and then she hits the prettiest moonsault ever again and covers and gets the win. And we see Jax's face, and she was busted open pretty bad by the chair spot. And after the show, she had posted a picture on her Instagram, and she was busted open pretty bad. It was all down her face, all on her chest. I mean, this is a pretty nasty. So, as much shit as we talk about Nia Jax, hopefully she's okay. We don't want to see anybody get injured. And we get the winner by pinfall as Tiffany Stratton, and she celebrates in the ring as the show goes off the air. And man, what wasn't a bad match actually for a Nia Jax match. What did you think of all this, TJ?
Not much, man. I'm tired of seeing Nia Jax, and I don't want to talk too much shit here, but her getting hurt like that, I'm not blaming it on anybody, but Nia Jax has been severely lucky that she hasn't actually been injured more throughout her career. It's usually been passed on to other people.
Right, she's the one injuring people.
Yeah, and she's not the best, and she's super sloppy, slow, bad timing. Just overall, just seems very lazy. What do I know? I don't know her. I'm just calling what I see, and I just don't ever see much improvement with her, and it's just a shame, it just doesn't seem like she's really putting the work in, and it's funny when these girls come in that have been doing it for like 3 years and are way fucking better than her, and I can't help but think like that if she took care of herself a little bit better, that she'd be able to perform better in the ring. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to shit on her. I'm sure she's a great person.
Yeah, I mean she's a total sweetheart from what I understand. But I mean that doesn't mean that you're a good wrestler. Yeah. That's okay. But like you were saying about people coming up and being better than her, we just got Roxanne and Julia. Well, Julia is confirmed brought up, but which we saw that on SmackDown, and Roxanne Perez is on the verge of being. I imagine they're going to bring her up in the draft and probably draft her to Raw. And those are girls. Roxanne is 23 years old, youngest woman to main event Raw ever, and not even be on the main roster. And she's already better than Nia Jax, who's been doing this for like a decade.
Yeah.
So there's that.
It's not like it's a gigantic accomplishment or anything. And, like, who the fuck am I to judge anybody, I just calls them like I sees them. That's all I can do, right?
We, Nia Jax is probably a better wrestler than we are. But, I mean, also, we're not trained wrestlers, so that would be a cool segment. Maybe we should attend a wrestling camp.
Nah, I'd do terrible.
And see what... Well, yeah. I mean, I'm 42 years old. If I go to wrestling camp now, I'm probably going to blow up hitting the ropes. But might make for good content sometime. I wish that we still had Florida Championship Wrestling down here in Tampa, like we did before they had NXT and moved it to Orlando. FCW was a cool little thing to go to from time to time. But anyway, we're getting off track here, and we're going to bring it back around to, we got a little bit of match talk for WWE Saturday night's main event. We got the updated match card. It's going to air next Saturday, May 24th on Peacock. So we're 6 days away as of recording, because we're recording this on Sunday the 18th. And we're gonna jump into these matches, talk about them one by one real quick. This will be a short and sweet little segment, but yeah. So we got our first match. It's the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. They've been building this up for a few weeks now. Logan Paul keeps sneak attacking Jey Uso. I have expectations for this match that it'll probably be pretty good. This will be a match that delivers. What do you think about this match, TJ?
It should be cool. Logan Paul's pretty good in the ring. He's really good at getting a lot of air and just doing spots that really show up good on camera. And Jey Uso's he's the man. Crowd's really into him, so I doubt this one will let down. And I'm looking forward to it. And after that, we got the steel cage match with Damon Priest and Drew McIntyre. We talked about that earlier. That one should be pretty good.
Probably going to be a fairly brutal affair. I imagine unintentionally, or most likely unintentionally, that we'll be seeing some color in that match.
Yeah. Then after that, we got CM Punk, Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Really looking forward to that one. Though they're going to do whatever little more build with that here tomorrow. So that should be cool. And it's been good every week so far, so I'm definitely looking forward to that match.
It's one of those matches that I don't know how it's going to... Like, a lot of these matches, like, obviously, Uso's going to win the Logan Paul match. I don't know who's going to win the steel cage match. I'm assuming Damian Priest, just to keep Drew McIntyre on his... giving him more reasons to be pissed off and bitching about stuff like he's been doing. The tag team match, I don't know. I can't see where they're going with this, and that's a good thing. Maybe we'll get a third man reveal for the group. Maybe we won't. Because, I mean, how can you figure that Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker beat Punk and Zayn in a straight up match, right? So there'll be some kind of goofy shit or chicanery, but we'll see. And then we got a singles match, which obviously was just announced earlier in the show, of R-Truth versus John Cena. It's a non-title match, which they made sure to clarify, which why you're having this guy have a non-title match as the champion with 25 dates left on his deal after this show, I don't know. But
come on,
I
he's
assume
not going to lose it. You can make it a fucking title match.
Right. Exactly. Maybe there'll be just some kind of weird shit that happens, that like maybe Cody comes back and fucks John Cena here and R-Truth gets the win, and that's how that's why it's a non-title match. Who knows? But what do you think of that match?
I'm looking forward to it. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but should be more like an old school style match, and they should definitely be doing a little bit of psychology, and they'll probably bring up some spots from the past that they've had. And if there were any time for Cody to come back, it'd probably be now or the next pay-per-view. We'll see, but it's should be a good show, and there should be some more matches to be announced. I think at least one, so be expecting more on that card, and I'm looking forward to it. It's next Saturday, right? So
yeah, I think most of their week. PLEs now they're starting to go with 5 matches. Yeah, it's kind of going to be the standard outside of like Mania.
Yeah. Well, SummerSlam's going to be way more than that. Royal Rumble's more than that too, I think.
The big 4 PLEs will be more than that, but your standard run of the mill is like Backlash, Saturday Night Main Event, Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, We're gonna probably be seeing like 5-6 matches as the standard moving forward. The TKO VP was saying that they're happy running these shorter PLEs, and I'm sure that they are, because they're making the same amount of money or more that you would make running a 8-match card, and you're having to pay less people. You're in the venue less time. There's a whole lot of reasons why it makes sense financially for them to continue to do it at this way. But yeah, that's it for the WWE talk for this episode. Why don't you take us into the next segment, TJ?
So we're going to be talking about AEW Collision here from 5/17/25, which had an attendance of 4,817. The current setup was for 5,103. So they had 286 tickets left. It was at the Now Arena at Hoffman Estates in Illinois. It was taped on the same day as Dynamite. So, that's why they had the crowd. I imagine if it was just Collision, it probably wouldn't be the same amount of people. But not trying to shit on them, just pointing out a random fact there. But We'll start off here with Anna Jay versus Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne with Penelope Ford. Match started with Megan Bayne overpowering Anna Jay, throwing her in the corner and delivering shoulder blocks. Bayne lands a chop, and Jay counters with drop kicks. Jay ends up on the apron, but Ford grabs her leg while the ref's distracted, causing Jay to fall to the floor. Bayne sends Jay into the barricade outside, then drops her back first under the ring apron. Bayne poses for the camera before rolling Jay back into the ring. Bayne covers for a 2 count, then applies a bear hug, followed by a belly-to-belly suplex. Jay escapes a kick, hits a backstabber, sends Bayne into the corner. Jay counters, again, on the apron, using a middle rope to take Bayne down. Bayne charges, and Jay pulls the rope down, sending her over the top rope. Jay dives and takes out both Ford and Bayne on the floor. Back in the ring, Jay gets a near fall after a DDT. Jay applies a sleeper hold, but Bayne stays on her feet. Ford tries to expose the turnbuckle. Cameron intervenes and brawls with Ford to the back. Jade sends Bayne into the exposed turnbuckle and covers, but Bayne kicks out at 2. Bayne sends Jay back first in the same exposed corner. Bayne drops Anna on her hips. I'm not sure if that was supposed to happen. Then finishes Jay.
It definitely looked a little rough.
Yeah, then finishes Jay with a Fate's Descent. I think it's Fate's. But Bayne hits the Fate's Descent after sending Jay into the exposed turnbuckle. Not too much to say here. It was okay. They're just trying to keep Megan Bayne looking dominant. Whatever. I'm sure that they have some kind of plans for her in the future to hold one of their women's belts. But
oh yeah, every time I see Megan Bayne, it's just
yeah.
They can print money with her if they handle her correctly.
Besides that, though, what'd you think about the match?
Well, the match was, it was a match, probably like a C-, probably a little below average. It's no knock on Megan and Anna Jay, but it's just wasn't that great of a match. Yeah. I enjoy the hell out of Harley Cameron. Yeah, Cameron. It's Cameron, not Cameron.
I like Cameron a lot. She did ass worship to her after the match.
Yeah, where they were like, she was like giving her some pats on the bottom, and she gave her a butt bite.
Yeah.
Making all the perverts out there go wild. And then as far as Penelope Ford, man, like, I could really take her, leave her. There's the term we've heard on another show, which is a great show, the interchangeable mud show blondes, and that's a good term to describe her. I'm not crazy about Miss Ford.
She's just there.
She looks good though.
Yeah, she's just there.
Yeah, but
let's move on to another match with a guy and somebody that was just there.
Yeah. You want me to go on this, or do you?
Well, I did the last one.
Okay, yeah, I forgot. I'm blonde. So Kyle Fletcher versus AR Fox. Oh boy. The bell rings, and Fletcher immediately kicks Fox in the head as he turns away. Fletcher stays aggressive, stomping on Fox and landing a hard chop. Fox fires back with a kicks to the face, and then drops Fletcher from the top rope to the floor. Fox runs the ropes for a dive, but Fletcher re-enters the ring and catches Fox mid-air, slamming him down. We get a commercial break on Max, and we come back from the break, and both men are battling on the ropes. Fox knocks Fletcher down, but gets dropped himself moments later. Fox rallies, hitting a cutter for a near fall. Fox attempts to lift Fletcher, but Fletcher blocks and counters with a slam. Fox sends Fletcher to the apron and follows with a shadow stomp on the floor. Fox hits a dive to the outside and sends Fletcher back into the ring from the top. Fox misses a pretty impressive 450. Fletcher lifts Fox and drops him across his back and shoulders for a close 2 count. Fletcher hits the ropes and nails a big boot. Fox fires back with a kick, but Fletcher answers with a kick to the back of the head and finishes him with a devastating delayed brainbuster. He held him up there for a while. That brainbuster looked really good. Big fan of that move. It looked punishing. Like, obviously he took care of him, but it was believable is what I'm saying here. So obviously the winner is Kyle Fletcher by pinfall. This wasn't a terrible match. I'm warming up to Fletcher more and more every week. The dude's obviously putting in the work. He's improved in the ring since he's gotten to AEW. His physique since he's gotten to AEW is night and day different. This dude is he's trying to check all the boxes, and he's doing a pretty good job for the most part. What did you think of this match, TJ?
Yeah, I like Kyle Fletcher. I was at a point where, like, I lumped Kyle Fletcher with Daniel Garcia as a guy that was never going to improve, never look any better, never have any good promos, never have a above average match for AEW standards. And he proved me wrong on all those aspects. And I hope that they eventually do something good with him. The match was good. AR Fox is just some guy, so not really important to me there. But overall, it was a good match. They laid it in. They had some good spots. AR Fox can definitely is good with the high spots and all that, and he does sell pretty good. So I'm not really trying to shit on him. They just don't really use him very prominently or consistently.
They don't give you much of a reason to care about it,
which is a problem they have with a lot of people on the show. So it's not more about him not having the talent; it's just how they present him. But no, Fletcher's the man, and Don Callis is so good in this commentary role that he does while his guys are out there, especially Fletcher. He fucking puts him over, man, and then he like ties the link to him and Fletcher at the same time, and he rides the line of being like a heel, but actually like throwing out legitimate facts at the same time. I talk highly about Don Callis all the time, I feel, and I don't know, he's a bright spot on the show, and I'm always like him when he comes out and does commentary, and he maximizes his minutes on television.
A good way to describe him.
Yeah,
he always accomplishes his goal vocally, for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and go ahead and move on if you want.
Yeah, why don't you lead us into this next one here? Speaking of Don Callis, we're going to get some more Don Callis action.
So we got this trios match here with Bandito, Tomohiro Ishii, Brody King, Don Callis family, Rocky Romero, Lance Archer, and Trent Beretta.
Oh boy.
Man, the match began with Ishii taking out Trent Beretta right away. Lance Archer enters and gets met by Brody King, who tags in and brawls with Archer in the center of the ring. Archer blocks a chop and kicks. King blasts him with a big boot that sends Archer to the floor. King dives through the ropes and wipes out Archer at ringside. King hits Archer with a chair and delivers a chop. But as King charges, Trent cuts him off with a big boot. Full commercial break on Max. We come back. Ishii suplexes Romero and covers, but Trent takes a save. Ishii fends off both Romero and Trent before Archer returns and clears out Ishii and King. Romero heads up to the top, but Bandito intercepts and sends Archer to the floor. Bandito hits a cutter on Romero. Ishii and King, Bandito re-enter the ring, triple team Romero, and a series of drop kicks. King finishes Romero with a cannonball in the corner for the win. So Brody King hits the cannonball on Romero following triple drop kicks. So Bandito, Ishii, King win. Post-match, Archer, Trent, Romero ambush the winners after the bell. Suddenly, the Outrunners music hits. They storm the ring and chase off the Don Callis family to end the segment. The Outrunners are cool. They've kind of wasted them at this point. They had a period where they could have really done something with them. That match was fucking garbage. I don't want to see multiple Bandito, Ishii, King, Romero, Beretta. And I'm not saying Beretta's not talented, they just use him poorly. Lance Archer's okay, they use him poorly. King, he's alright, they use him poorly. I don't know, I never need to see Ishii on TV again. Bandito stinks. Like, this is just a waste of our fucking time. And the fact that this is put on television in 2025 just shows like a cold disconnect between Tony and his fans. Now there are a very small subset of fans that this match is all about, but you don't grow a wrestling product with that. The vast majority of people don't want to see it, and no thanks.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Before you even get to the what do you think of this, Dave part, this match wasn't for me. But that's okay. Not every match is going to be for every person. You can take or leave pretty much all of these guys. I wouldn't mind seeing a one-on-one with Brody King and Lance Archer at some time. But the rest of these guys can kind of fuck off.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
Yeah. And then after that ends, we get a backstage segment with oh no, wait, some other shit happened. Archer, Trent, and Romero ambush the winners after the. Did you already talk about that?
Absolutely.
Am I retarded?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yep. That was a part of it.
The back. Yeah. Okay. I'm spacing out here for some reason. That's how bad that match was. I just had temporary memory loss. The backstage segment with the Paragon being interviewed by Lexi Nair. Who wears short shorts? I wear short shorts. That's what I think of with Nair, the Nair commercials when we were kids. Maybe that's too old for some people. Anyway, Lexi Nair is backstage with the Paragon, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Adam Cole announces that he will put his TNT championship on the line, issuing an open challenge to anyone who wants a shot. This will be the first time we've seen the TNT title defended in a long time. Haven't seen him do anything with it since he won it, I feel like. Before Lexi can ask a follow-up question, the grizzled young veterans appear on the screen, and they definitely don't appear young, but they definitely appear grizzled. For the second week in a row, Gibson and Drake challenge Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong to a tag team match next week. And I don't think anybody cares or wants to see that, but apparently that's a match we're going to see next week. How excited are you for that and this whole backstage thing?
Well, what's that? The international title Kenny has, and then Adam Cole has the TNT title.
Yeah.
And then they're barely ever defended. They haven't done anything with either guy since they've won them. Okada's belt barely ever gets defended. Barely anything happens with them. You noticing like a fucking pattern here? You got too many guys on your show. You got too many belts on your show. You don't have enough ideas for 2 shows a week. And you clearly have the amount of people for 2 shows, but it's just not. It's just Collision just isn't working out. But
random positive thing about Collision that I can think of, speaking of too many belts on the show, we didn't see any Ring of Honor belts defended on the show this week. So good job. Maybe somebody is finally listening in respects to getting some of these Ring of Honor belts off the TV.
But we'll jump to the next one here. Blake Christian, Speedball Mike Bailey. Match starts with Blake offering a handshake, but then pulling it back. Bailey responds immediately with a flurry of kicks, staggering Blake. Blake regroups, sending Bailey to the floor, hitting a dive off the apron. Blake re-enters the ring, connects with a 450 splash, but Bailey kicks out at 2. Blake chokes Bailey using the bottom rope. Bailey escapes a slam attempt, kicks Blake, and then thrust kick Blake, leaps over the ropes. Both men trade chops in the center of the ring, with Bailey yelling at Blake to bring it. Blake kicks Bailey, but Bailey answers with a strong kick of his own that sends Blake to the outside. Bailey hits a top rope moonsault to the floor. Back in the ring, Lee distracts Bailey, allowing Blake to hit a surprise dive through the ropes. Both men fight to the top turnbuckle as they come down. Bailey hits a spinning heel kick on Blake. Bailey covers for the 3 count. The finish was Bailey landing the spinning kick for the 3 count here. So he won. Post-match segment, Bailey calls out Okada. After the win, Bailey grabs the mic and challenges Okada to a title match. Okada's music hits. The Rainmaker walks to the stage with a mic in hand. Okada responds bluntly, "You're a bitch." Suddenly, Solo Sikoa and Rush ambush Bailey from behind. Okada watches as the beatdown unfolds and walks to the back. Rush finishes the assault with a headbutt, leaving Bailey down in the ring. I don't know, just this match was okay, I guess. It seems like Mike Bailey's kind of only capable of having one type of match, And Blake Christian's just some guy that they're using in a position, and it's just been proven time and time again. Why should I care about this guy? Because he probably won't even be featured on the show in a regular fashion in a month and a half.
That's a good description of him. And yeah, it was an all right match. Nothing great, nothing crazy. I don't know what's going on with this post-match shit. Like, how many dudes are feuding with each other at the same time? You know what I'm saying? Like, but okay.
You tell me, man.
Well, anyway, I'll carry us into this next segment here. We got a Chicago street fight between Brian Keith and Big Bill versus the Gates of Agony. Actually, a match that I was kind of looking forward to a little bit. TJ's a fan of Big Bill, and he's got me coming around on him. I wasn't super crazy about him, but the stuff they've been doing lately hasn't been bad. So we get Brian Keith and Big Bill entering to the Learning Trees music. I don't know why we can't get these guys their own music, but okay. They immediately pull a table out from under the ring and set it up. The Gates of Agony come out next carrying garbage cans, so we're going to get a garbage match, it looks like. And the bell rings, and Keith and Bill both charge the Gates to start the fight. Bill smashes Khan with a... Is that Khan? Khan? K-A-U-N? I don't know how the fuck to say the guy's name. Smashes him with a trash can... Okay, and sends Toa into the steel steps. Bill boots Khan in the face and hits him with a steel sign. Keith chokes Toa and then blasts him with a big boot to the head. Khan returns and gets clotheslined hard by Keith, but counters by driving Keith through a table. Toa enters and brawls with Bill, breaking a pool stick over his head before using it on Bill. That's a pretty good spot. I wonder how they gimmicked that pool stick, because it didn't look very gimmicked. It looked like he hit him with a pool stick for real. Yeah, it didn't. It looked like he fucking hit him pretty hard with it. And they trade pool stick shots until Toa knocks Bill down with a shoulder tackle. Shoulder. There's that word again. Yeah, shoulder tackle.
Every week you get at least one in.
Yeah. That's going to become a meme if we ever take off. People will be like, oh, there's Dave again saying shoulder. Anyway, Khan uses a cable to choke Bill, dragging him outside. Toa slams Keith onto the mat on the floor. We get a full commercial break on Max. Let's go. We come back from the break, and the Gates double team Keith, but Bill recovers and clears the ring. Bill slams Khan into the barricade and pulls out a backpack full of bricks. Bill tries to hit Khan, but smashes a brick over the ring post, and Toa throws Bill over the announce table. Keith hits Toa with a garbage can lid, but it has no effect. These guys are Samoan. You can't hit Samoans in the head in wrestling. Everybody knows that. Toa takes the lid and hits Keith and then launches him over the timekeeper's table after a barricade spot. Khan hits Bill with an unidentified object, then smashes him with a garbage can. Keith hits Khan with a trash can from behind on the apron. Keith headbutts Toa. Bill hits Toa with a big boot, sending him crashing through the table at ringside. Bill breaks a piece of the table over Khan's head, but Khan no-sells it and laughs. Again, you can't hit Samoans in the head. Bill finishes Khan with a big boot and a choke slam. We got the winners, Brian Keith and Big Bill by pinfall, and the real winners are us, because this match is... No, I'm just kidding. This was actually a pretty decent match. There were a lot of painful looking spots and stiff shots. These guys were out there working hard and putting in the effort. And this was a pretty decent match, above average. What did you think of all of this?
Probably the best match of the night, at least to me.
Yeah.
But everybody involved had a lot of fun. You could tell that they were trying. Everybody seemed like they presented this as serious. There were no goofy spots. I like Big Bill a lot. That he's world champion material to me. He's a bright spot in that company that on Collision almost every week. I feel like they really need to get rid of Chris Jericho's music. He doesn't need it, and you'd be surprised that when you give guys like this a fucking chance, like what they're capable of. But I think there's a lot of guys in the company that offer that, and it's kind of weird that he's not featured more. Or I guess he is, but in not a more prominent role. But I guess they're going for the tag titles. But I want you to take us into this next one here.
Well, we get We had a little bit of a commercial break, and then we come back and we get Steve Mongo McMichael tribute segment. And this is one of the things that TJ and I talk about that AEW always does well, is their tribute to falling wrestling community member segments. And this is no exception. Tony Schiavone is at the stage to honor Steve Mongo McMichael. Mongo's widow, Misty McMichael, comes out and speaks emotionally, says that Mongo was the greatest man that she was ever knew, that they were married for 27 years. It's a pretty long time. Dean Malenko comes out and joins Misty and Tony on stage. You know, they had a long history together in WCW. Dean was a short-lived member of the Four Horsemen with them, which probably people don't really remember because it was very short. Tony highlights Mongo's football accomplishments: Super Bowl champion, multiple Pro Bowls in his run in WCW. Mentions that May is ALS Awareness Month, tying Mongo's fight into the tribute. Ric Flair is introduced next. His music plays and he walks on stage. And, you know, before we go any further, TJ and I were wondering how he was going to make this about himself, and he did a pretty good job, actually, of not doing that, to Ric's credit.
Pure class right here.
Yep. Flair embraces Tony, Misty, and Dean, visibly emotional. You could tell, like, that he was, you know.
Oh, he came out with a tear in his eye. You know, and he's seen a lot of people pass, and so he is an emotional guy, though. So, but he's got
to realize how, you know, how many guys that he's seen, you know, pass in the industry and how old that he's getting. You know, so he calls Chicago one of the greatest wrestling towns in the world, and man, that's definitely true. Chicago is a great wrestling town. Flair honors Mongo as more man than I've ever known, praising his 6-year fight with ALS. He praises Misty for never leaving Mongo's side and becoming his nurse. The crowd begins a heartfelt Mongo chant. Flair thanks the fans and says that tonight is special and emotional for everybody. And then we go to commercial, and then we go to TJ's thoughts on this segment.
Yeah, he was talking about how, like, Mongo was, like, coherent and there for the whole thing, and, like, that's after he said, like, he was, like, more man than he ever knew. But overall, This is good. AEW definitely has the best tributes in the business, and you know, it sucks he left. We did a little thing on it, and you don't need to beat a dead horse here. It sucks that he's gone, and you know, it sucks he had to fight that, man. It looked rough, and I'm just glad that he's not suffering anymore, if you can take something positive from it. And it seemed like Rick really cared about him, and just rest in peace, Mongo, right?
Yeah. See you on the other side someday.
Yep. And then we'll go ahead and move on. And it's kind of funny because, like, the show went to commercial after that, and it just stopped. Like, that was it. Yeah. I was watching on Max, and you get a little thing that says when the show's done, because, you know, it's streaming. And it said that the event was over.
Yep. And I was watching a TMT stream of it, and Black Adam came on, and I thought it was just an extended commercial break. I was like, oh, they must be going the rest of the show with no commercial breaks for these last two matches. So they're just getting a long commercial break in now. I even mentioned it to TJ. We were on Discord together, you know, watching it, and I was like, this is a long fucking commercial break. And you know, he's like, well, on mine it says that the show's ended. And I'm like, oh shit. And TNT aired a ticker on the screen that was reading, due to technical difficulties, AEW Collision is not airing tonight. Please check allelitewrestling.com for wrestling updates. Yeah. And then Tony later, Tony posted on Twitter blaming studio transmission issues and confirmed that the full episode would be available on the West Coast replay on TNT and Max.
I saw people saying that it wasn't.
Yeah, we had to find a way to watch these last two matches, which we don't have great notes for because, you know, most places didn't get to watch it. There aren't a bunch of notes, and it just is what it is. And what did you think of all this peculiar goings on?
I don't know. They always have weird production issues, man. It's most commonly they have sound and stuff, but I don't know really what to say about it. Just, it sucks, you know. It just makes it seem like it's kind of amateur hour. But, you know, production things do happen and freak accidents do occur, and maybe this is one of those. And, you know, don't want to jump on and judge anybody here. And Tony
but also, they recorded it on Wednesday.
Yeah,
So
so
I
it
mean,
wasn't
it
live. What was
definitely
the
wasn't
problem?
like a definitely wasn't like a, oh, they cut the feed from the production truck, or we lost a cable, or
They know every Saturday, 8 to 10.
oh,
So
so that,
something happened there.
yeah. But it happened on TNT and Max. So, it's
Yeah,
like,
it was both. Strange, man.
what studio is this stuff being
Mm-hmm.
transmitted from that goes to both of those feeds? That'll come out, and maybe we'll have a updated news segment on that once we find out what happens. Maybe we'll talk about it on Tuesday's show. Just if we know by then, because it's Sunday, day or two, we'll probably know what happened. But yeah, why don't you carry us into the next part?
All right, so we got the AEW World Tag Team Championship contenders match here. It's the ROH Tag Team Champions Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara versus Crew, Action Andretti and Leo Rush. So they weren't defended, but the ROH belts were presented on the show.
Oh, fuck that. So I was
Yeah,
wrong earlier. God damn.
the match was taped but did not air during the East Coast broadcast due to technical issues on TNT and Max. We talked about that. This was a number one contenders match to determine future challengers for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This match was actually set up on Wednesday. Both teams showcased speed, experience, and high-flying offense in a fast-paced tag match. Dustin hit a nice destroyer. Crew brought in intense athleticism, but the veteran chemistry between Dustin and Sammy proved too much. Match concluded with Dustin and Sammy hitting combo offense and Sammy laying a GTH and scoring the pinfall victory. So the winners and new number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Championships was Dustin and Sammy. It's like Sammy can't even talk or something. He's just hanging out to the side of Dustin these days.
Yeah.
What you think?
That's not a bad spot to be in. It's one of the better pairings that they've probably done with Sammy, and hopefully veteran Dustin's veteran experienced hand can help guide him in a better direction, because we all know that he's had handfuls of backstage issues and shit like that. That said, he's kept his nose clean for a really long time. What I'm saying is Dustin's fucked up a lot, and he's a good dude to be able to take lessons from, probably. He seems like he's got his head on straight. So I think this will benefit Sammy long term. The match itself wasn't bad.
You think
Probably one of the better matches of the night. Not as good as the prior tag team match that you and I talked about a little bit ago, but nothing terrible.
So you're talking about his head being on straight? You think whoever booked this next match head was on straight?
Ooh, man. I would say that nothing positive, but yeah, I mean, the dude's booking 2 shows, so we would take the good with the bad here. But we get Powerhouse Hobbs versus Wheeler Yuta, and man, talk about an odd couple. Fucking. That's like having the 1-2-3 kid go out there and fight Mark Henry or something almost. I mean, it's one of those, the believability is at an all-time low is what I'm getting at here. But we did have a hard-hitting match at the start based on the way that it was booked, with Yuta using speed and technique to counter Hobbs's power. Yuta landed several strikes and submission attempts, but Hobbs outpowered him throughout the match. Hobbs ultimately shut down Yuta's offense with a devastating spine buster, which did look really nice. And then he scored the pin and won the match. There was obviously more stuff that happened than that, but you guys will just have to catch the rebroadcast of it for a full blow by blow. And we're gonna go with the shortened match for description for this time, because there was just not a ton of notes. And we had a post match segment where Marina Shafir came out and joined Wheeler Yuta in attacking Hobbs. And the numbers game is short-lived. Willow runs in and makes the save, and Shafir and Yuta retreat from the ring. And from the entrance, we have Statlander watching silently, observing the entire scene as the broadcast ends. I have to wonder, are they turning Stat back face here eventually, or her and Willow going to become... Okay. And well, cool. It'd be nice to see the two of them together. The match that they had the other week, we talked about on a previous episode, was great. I mean, both of these girls, two of the better talents that they have on the female side in the ring.
Yeah,
So
for
it'll be
sure.
cool to see them, whatever they do together. What do you make of all this?
Nah, not too much. It's a match that happened with one guy that's probably less than half the size of the other guy. Just kind of a little bit, hard to believe that this would be something that could actually happen. And Yuta's fucking terrible, and he looks like shit, and looks like he hasn't worked out a day in his life. He's just eating rice and chicken, and let's move on.
Easily the worst match of the night. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Collision, another so-so. Couple bright spots, but overall, it's usually the worst wrestling show of the week. This week's definitely one of those weeks, wouldn't you say?
Yep. Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme with Collision in particular, because we'll have back and forth weeks with Dynamite where it's like, oh, Dynamite was better than Raw this week, but seems like SmackDown is generally better than Collision.
Yeah, it is. When it goes down to 2 hours, I'm sure that won't even be a question.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. We have less than a month, I think, like the June 6th or something like that we talked about before, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We can finish up our little Collision review here. Is not the best, and we'll jump up to probably something else that isn't the best either with this Nikki Bella divorce settlement. So like some news came out the other day, and it's kind of weird. These people report on everything these days, huh? And they're basically, Nikki Bella finalized her divorce from that Artem whatever guy. The couple first met in 2017 on Dancing with the Stars when Nikki was still with John. They began dating in 2018, got engaged in 2020, had a son later that year, and then married in 2022. Their relationship was featured on Total Bellas. Their legal timeline was she filed for divorce in September of last year following an alleged domestic violence incident. Artem was arrested, but later claimed Nikki fabricated the story. All charges were dropped the same month. TMZ reports a final settlement was reached in November of last year, with a judge signing off recently. Kind of nuts there. He definitely did get off with that, and if he really did fucking do something, he would have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
So the details of the settlement are monthly child support. Apparently, she's got to pay $3,500 a month for the care of their son, and she's going to pay $200,000 to him. But that has to do with alimony, I'm pretty sure. Half now, and then half by the end of 2025. There's going to be therapy and expenses. Nikki's going to have to pay for their son's speech therapy. They will split extracurricular cost and alternating holidays annually. Business assets, she retains all trust in her name. Bonita Wine with her sister. That's their wine brand. And Stephanie Nicole Garcia Entertainment. Saturday night, Nikki posted on her Twitter in response to this. Fans questioned her having to pay out so much money, and people questioning what kind of custody agreement must be in place. Fans did not believe it was 50-50 split custody due to the amount of money going out. However, Nikki clarified, I hope you all read this because you don't understand the law. Child support is about income per year, so whoever makes the most, and depending on how much they make a year, they pay monthly. We have 50-50 custody, CA state law, and $200K is because he didn't sign a prenup, so that's alimony. Has nothing to do with anything else except divorce. You need to educate yourself and stop assuming off clickbait hate headlines. It's kind of weird. Like, and what kind of alimony leaves you with $200,000? So what, you have $400,000 in the bank and you took half of it? Like,
I guess. Damn.
Like, fuck. Yeah.
So it'll be coming soon at Game Changer Wrestling. Nikki Garcia.
Yeah, she's back and she's ready to take the world by storm at 41 years old. Can she become the world champion?
We'll definitely be seeing more of her in some wrestling capacity after this. I mean,
gotta get that.
That's
money.
a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
See, at least with Brie, she married fucking Daniel, and or Brian, and he made a lot of money from WWE, and he's pretty frugal. He kept most of it, and then he went to AEW and probably made more money there than he ever made at any other time
in his life.
Yeah, so, no wonder he wants to retire. I bet you he's like, fuck, I wasn't expecting this last chunk of change. I was fine before.
Yeah, now he's just like, it's like, well, this is like a bonus.
Yeah, and Brie has,
and
her
he's
own
still
stuff going on.
employed there.
Yeah, and she made her money too, and yeah, you're right. He's still employed. But yeah, I don't really have too much more to add to that. Just kind of weird people, kind of private stuff, and I thought it was kind of something to comment on because we could just comment on how people jump up and make these posts and kind of thinking negatively about her and post it online when all they could do, I guess, was look up the law and see that that's what it was, right?
Yeah, but it's easier to just offhandedly type something that you didn't put any real brain power into and just be a dick online. So it should be a little bit of a lesson to everybody, know what the fuck you're talking about before you open your mouth, at least a little bit. And you know what? This is all unfortunate for Nikki, and it's unfortunate that it is playing out publicly like this. Hoping the best for everybody involved, especially their son, because children are ultimately the ones that are affected the most in these kind of things. So while it sucks for the grown-ups, it sucks even more for the kid, and we're pulling for that little guy.
Yeah, for sure. And his mom is a successful woman. I don't know anything about the dad, but I'm sure they're going to grow up to be a good, well-adjusted person that has a lot of opportunities in life that most children aren't lucky enough to have.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, fuck, worst comes to worst, like, Nikki Bella fell off a bridge. And, if something bad happened to Nikki, Brian and, Bree right there. I mean,
yep.
Child's got a lot of people to take care of it. And
it's going to have a positively enriched life.
For sure.
Is what he's saying.
Yeah, with some people that have some money to help take care. Because money helps a lot.
Right?
But
I mean, Daniel and Bree are good people. They legitimately are good people.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. And then speaking of the headlines and shit that's going on, this happened yesterday at an autograph signing. Why don't you take us into this, TJ?
Okay, well, a fan reportedly tries to kiss Saraya at an autograph signing, and she responded. Over the weekend, a disturbing incident occurred during an autograph signing where a fan reportedly attempted to kiss Saraya on the lips without consent. The former AEW Women's Champion took to Twitter X with a post, "Crazy I have to say this, but if you come to my signings, please don't try to kiss me anywhere, especially on my mouth. He wasn't able to because I moved, but Jesus fucking Christ." The post quickly gained traction, prompting widespread support and sparking renewed discussions about personal boundaries at wrestling events. In a video statement released after the signing was over, Saraya noted that she was changing her policy with fan encounters. "What's up, you guys? Bear with me because I'm driving home right now from my signing that I just did, and obviously I tweeted out that a fan tried to kiss me during my signing. Actually, during my photo ops, to be exact. And I just want to obviously put it out there. First, I'm okay. I've been getting a lot of text, tweet, calls, everything imaginable to make sure I'm good. I promise you I'm good. I managed to get away and he ended up leaving, so it's good." Man, fucking sounds like somebody tried to kill her or something. But
well, I mean, you can't just be trying to fucking
for sure
piss on people.
But fuck, it sounds like somebody tried to kill her. But anyways, I want to get a PSA out there. I'm a hugger. I've always been a hugger since it comes to my fans. But going forward, I would love if we could just stick to handshakes just to be safer and just to have a little bit of boundary. But we shouldn't have to worry about this stuff. So going forward, I just want to stick to that. And I just want to say thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate you. There was a bunch of you, and you were all amazing. But it was just one bad day. It is what it is. But she just wanted to get that out there. Please don't do that to us, you guys. Please, to any wrestling, not just females, any wrestling, do not try to kiss us. It's not appropriate. It's actually assault. Please don't do that. We want to come out. We want to meet you. We want to say hi. We love to meet you guys. So just going forward afterwards, I just want to say thank you first and foremost. Make sure I'm okay and everything is fine. And everyone that turned out, you guys are awesome. And I can't wait to see you at the next signing. Just please don't kiss me. Fucking jeez. And then the industry reaction and the larger issue here. Sierra's message highlights a persistent and unacceptable issue in pro wrestling, violating performers' personal space during meetups, meet and greets, signings. While most fans act respectfully, even one violation can create discomfort and risk for performers, especially women. The situation serves as a reminder that consent and professionalism must be respected in all fan interactions. So, kind of goes without saying though, like, don't be a fucking creep. Would you want somebody coming up to your mother or mom or anybody that you
sister,
know, trying to,
cousin, fucking any woman,
trying to kiss them out of fucking nowhere? No. And let's just think in your head like, she's coming in for a hug. That's a friend. That's a friendly hug. In every interaction that you have with a female in your life, when one comes to hug you, especially like, let's just say you're in school or a job, and it's somebody that they're coming in to give you a hug and they do it all the time, it's just because they're a hugger like she's saying she is, and it's a female. A lot of females like to hug people, and especially if it's your friend, you females like to fucking hug people, and she's trying to even give you that. The fact that she's even willing to fucking hug you would be like enough. If you're trying to fucking get physical to some extent with this lady, and she's like the dream of your life, you should be thankful that she's willing to hug you and be very appreciative with just that. And then she's doing a photo where she's touching you in the photo, and she's not sending you off on the other side of the frame like Sasha Banks, you know. Appreciate that. But now it seems like you fucked it up for everybody else from getting hugs from her, and it's not even that big a deal. The handshakes are good too, it's professional, but it's like one guy fucks it up fucking for everybody. And the fact that maybe you think in your head that like you have a shot with this fucking chick to kiss her, think again, man. Hey, you're probably
get fucking real.
Yeah, you're probably a dumbass.
Yeah, you know, this shit is not cool. It's never gonna be cool, you know. Let's be honest, you know, most of the people, us included, none of these wonderful wrestling ladies are gonna want anything to do with us, you know, outside of maybe being cool and friends with us, and that's fine. You can't be just trying to kiss people all willy-nilly or doing any kind of unwanted touching or whatever the fuck. I don't know where these people's heads are at, other than obviously up their ass, because this is not a smart decision. This is not a respectful decision. You know, just don't fucking touch people. I don't like to be touched. I'm not a celebrity, so I've got less people trying to touch me. I can't imagine what it would be like if I constantly had people wanting to get a piece of me. It would be ridiculous. So, you know, long rant over. Be respectful to these people when you see them out. Put on some deodorant. Quit being fucking weird. And what's coming up next, TJ?
So we'll go ahead and move on, and we're going to talk about our next episode, which, if you've been going on the rotation, it's just going to be the day after Raw on Tuesday. So we'll be reviewing Raw, and we'll probably have some maybe do this day in
or news,
in wrestling
or
history, or some
history.
news. We're going to have some extra stuff, but you know, this is a good episode. I had fun. This is a long one here. It's been longer than what we've usually been doing. Which is kind of funny because we didn't have a pay-per-view or anything extra to toss in. But I had fun like always, and we got our social media that we need to plug to you. YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Twitter, X, at OverMark ENT. Just, again, we really appreciate you guys for sticking in, checking us out. You got anything you want to fucking tell us? We're here to listen. Make that dialogue with us. Fuck you even just want to come talk to us about something else. We're hanging out a lot of the day when we're working, so you know we're available. I know Dave appreciates it too. He'll tell you here in a second. And thanks for getting to 200, and hopefully we'll be well higher than that here come later this year. And thanks for checking us out, guys.
Yeah, it's a really cool milestone for only having been doing this for a month. So you know, thanks everybody. We'll keep trying to make it worth your time.
Yeah, I guess that being said, you guys have a good one.
Like, listen, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It helps boost our channel up the algorithm. You know, we were talking about old Al earlier, and I, you know, want to whip old algorithm's ass sometimes.
That's a Rickyism. I don't know who this algorithm is, but I'm gonna whip his ass.
Yeah, you wait till we see that guy, dude.
Yeah, algorithm.
Yeah.
But
anyway, see you guys next time.
Yeah, have a good night, guys. Thanks for checking us out.